Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So in the process of looking through Chan and some other stuff, I actually found a really neat article that somebody had linked through CG World GP, which is the translated article showing how they did the CG for Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory before the last two episodes are aired. There's been like a light novel showing in between, or a reveal. So we're looking at this article now and it goes down and shows you they're actually using 3ds Max, the same tool that I use for my Unreal stuff, and it's really neat. I have to give this a proper read through, but you can see how organized the team is, that it's kind of a small team that are doing the CG. They started production back in 2017 and they ended up using Skype to communicate with each other. Apparently the CG is cut to 120 from 120 to 130 cuts per episode. Basically, it's used 1.5 times more than in any other anime on average. What they do is they use 3ds Max, 3ds Max 2016, and Pencil 3 Plus, which I'm going to have to look into what that is. They model everything in 1:1 scale, so everything you see in Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory is real life scale. That is really cool, the way that they've gone and done that to that level of detail. They've also tried to focus on cool poses, which I'm doing myself. It's just really cool to see how they've paid this much attention to it. The fact that they've given all the ASs a lot of gimmicks and that all the rigs are very complicated. I can imagine that because the rigs are the skeletons that make up the ASs, and you're going to have a lot of detail in these things. So of course the rigs are going to be way more detailed than you can imagine. Even show off the broken arbalist here, just the artwork for it, where they have to go in and model each of these parts in a certain amount of detail. Then they show off the design for each part of it as it gets broken in, I think, episode 4 or 5. They show you the texture drawing that they use in Photoshop, and then how this applies, how they mask shadows on the model. It's all fascinating to see the behind the scenes. They even do the cockpit model in 3D, which I thought was really cool. So this entire thing is, it's possible to make it up with like 20,000, but they've, including the fuselage, it's like 100,000 polys for the entire cockpit, and you can see it's a very familiar window there if you've seen any behind the scenes. But they rigged this up how it would be in the show in 3D, and then get it to show up, and it looks really fantastic. I love the way they're doing this. They show you the details and how much detail went into designing each piece so that it can move without clipping into each other, how joints slide in and out and move to avoid different parts, how the rigging is set up in such a way that they don't want the hand to clip into each other. They've even gone as far as detailing the fact that they can go in and do little details like the eyes lenses there, and then the rigs are carried across so you can use similar animations on both. So here we've got what looks like a cat rig, and they use it on both of them to be able to rig the structures in a very similar manner. So we've got the arbalist and the savage here, and then they compare and sort of add the running animations on a very similar setup so that they can do minimal effort when it comes to transferring the animations between. So you've got the arbalist here and the savage doing almost the same animation. And this was the running animation from, I think it was episode 4 or episode 5, where the arbalist has the Lambda driver engaged and is running around a corner to avoid gunfire. And you've got the savage doing the exact same animation because they play on the same rigs. It's just really fantastic to see. We've got page 2 here, which goes on about the production and the conscious working time, you know, coordinating departments, going through storyboards, which I think this is episode 4 as well. It shows yeah, there's parts of the storyboard for episode 4 that they're blocking out where the Arbalest is stabbing one of the other units with its molecular knife. And then we see the proper finished version in actual shot. They even show examples of where they've gone into high levels of detail with other gimmicks, such as the feet clamps to stop it from scraping all over the place or to stop it from sliding. The way that they've had to design the hatch for the knife, or the anti-tank knife that comes out from one of the compartments. And then also the scenes that they use for the intro as well, where you have the Arbalest, which in the intro is normally out of shot, but has Sosuke standing on top of it. And that's the shot that they use in the intro, with Sosuke stood on top here with his cloak on, which is then shown there. He's covering up the Arbalest's face. We've also got a few shots and how to do expression. This is through trickery with the camera, like it shows the Arbalest reaching back and then slashing forwards with a knife. And this is all done using camera work in 3DS that allows you to focus the field of view in such a way that it makes it look as if it's further away. This also helps for scenes where you see like the Arbalest jumping really high and then coming back down, where they have a spline controlling that and then they animate it along that spline and then focus the camera on it. It looks really fantastic to see all these behind the scenes bits, because it's just giving me tons of ideas for my own work. They also show you what goes into the ECS, or optical camouflage, where they render off the diffuse, then the occlusion masks and other areas, and then the normal map, and then they put it together with some noise, and what you actually get is the final sort of see-through look for the Arbalest. I love the way they've rendered this against one of the backgrounds as well, just so they can show you it. It's not actually one of the areas from the show by the look of it. Although I could be wrong, it might actually be the hangar and the Mithril base from the first couple of episodes. They show this off as a 3DS Max material that they can then use on the other ASs in the series that have ECS. I love the way Al's just sat there with all the pigeons or doves on him. And then, of course, you got the last bit, which shows you a little bit about the mechanisms and the backgrounds. Gives you a little bit of an interview on how they're going to deal with the hybridization of, it's hard to say that, of the line art and also the CG, where they're going to use it in the beginning episode, where they have the Mithril memorial here for all the people that have died. And Leonard and Tessa meet up with each other. They've even done the water as well. It's just fantastic to see how much detail goes into all of this. They've used what looks like speed tree here, and then we see the final shots of all the different portions of the environment done in 3DS, and then sort of semi-blended with the anime look. They've even done portions of the road and things that are modular so that they can swap out when they need to. And then they have the city made up of these portions, so you'll be able to see different buildings in other areas. Just to give you an idea that it does repeat, but it doesn't, at least from ground level, you don't see that. There's also the Danon, or Dana, that was done in 3D as well. I love the way they've used 3D for the majority of this. These are the textures for the Danon, which looks really good. They're really simple as well, although I suppose because of it being animation, it doesn't need to be too detailed. But if you want to actually see this article yourself and look at the interviews and stuff, I will link in the description. It's a fantastic read. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye!